The USS Abraham Lincoln actually did a partial retreat. The USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier has pulled back around 1,400 kilometers from Iran's coast. The aircraft is still within range of Iranian anti-ship missiles with a range of 2,000 kilometers. Now, why did they do that? Why did they do that? In my eyes, they are seriously concerned that the Iranians do have the capacity to sink that ship quite easily. The Iranians have shown that. They have new missile technology. They have new land-to-sea missiles, which travel at, just 3 meters above sea level, which can quite easily, I'd imagine, take out these ships. As we just covered, the United States has decided to send a whole F-35C Lightning II, whatever dumb fighter jet thing they have, to take out a single unmanned Iranian drone. Clear indication that the U.S. is not interested in negotiations or diplomacy. They are interested in escalating this towards a full-blown war. U.S. drones and Iranian drones have been flying over the region for the past week. No one's done anything about it. The Iranians haven't touched any of the U.S. military assets, of which there are many to potentially target. They haven't touched any of the U.S. drones, but now the U.S. is taking this decision. Good time to remind you all that according to the head of Iran's armed forces, he recently declared, we changed our doctrine to adopt an offensive military doctrine, right after the 12-day war. Any new aggression by the U.S. against Iran would expose U.S. troops and their allies in the region to serious attacks. And I believe, honestly, that they are quite serious in that threat. Iranian news agency has just published a photo of the UAE's Al Dhafra Air Base. In addition to that, over the past week, we have seen that several Iranian media outlets have been sharing varied images from Chinese satellites of all the U.S. military bases in the region, basically. We've seen lots of photos from Al Adad Air Base. We've now seen these photos from the UAE. We've seen photos in Saudi Arabia. We've seen photos of the buildup of all of these potential targets as the Iranians view them. Strategic bombers, F-15s, F-16s, Globemasters, whatever it is. So this is what the Iranians' mindset is right now, okay? A list of American assets in the UAE. Iranian foreign affairs specialists has come out tonight and said that there are a wide range of American targets to hit in the UAE. Iran has no issue with the UAE itself, but claims the UAE, especially Dubai, is the main hub supporting U.S. military, financial, tech, and logistics operations in the region. He argues that if the U.S. makes any hostile move, Iran would target the Achilles heel sites rather than start a full war. He listed 5 main strategic targets: Dubai Airport, Free Zone and Logistics Hub, core of U.S. transport and military support; Dubai International Financial Center, a major hub for financial. That's really going to piss off the Israelis. They're going to hit the Dubai Financial Center? Oh, no. Dubai's internet and data hubs hosting major U.S. tech firms like Meta, Google, Microsoft, supporting U.S. forces. Dubai Silicon Oasis, engineering and tech firms tied to U.S. military supply chains. Jebel Ali, a key transit and logistics center for U.S. companies and personnel. He emphasizes this is deterrence, not a declaration of war, and claims Iran could hit these targets easily, even without missiles, and could use rockets from its coastal sites. So it's very clear to me that the Iranians have a very good idea of when and how to respond if it's demanded of them, okay? Now, there was a very interesting development that took place over the past 24 hours, which is that the USS Abraham Lincoln, not only that they shot down an Iranian Shahed drone that was doing simple reconnaissance work, right? Not only that, but prior to that, the USS Abraham Lincoln actually did a partial retreat. The USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier has pulled back around 1,400 kilometers from Iran's coast. The aircraft is still within range of Iranian anti-ship missiles with a range of 2,000 kilometers. Now, why did they do that? Why did they do that? In my eyes, they are seriously concerned that the Iranians do have the capacity to sink that ship quite easily. The Iranians have shown that. They have new missile technology. They have new land-to-sea missiles, which travel at just 3 meters above sea level, which can quite easily, I'd imagine, take out these ships. I mean, U.S. aircraft carriers can sink just like every other ship on the face of the earth. I don't know if the U.S. has realized that yet, but that is a possibility. Who could have thunk? Who could have thunk it? Okay. Not only that, but it was reported that they also removed the accompanying destroyers and submarines away from Iran. So they moved that all back 1,400 kilometers. And the U.S. carrier strike group of the USS Abraham Lincoln actually got within 700 kilometers of the Iranian coastline a few days ago. So they did, a major pullback times 2, right? 1,400 kilometers here. My guess is they really did not want those Iranian drones doing reconnaissance on these ships. Because as I've said several times, the Iranians are not concerned what U.S. Navy personnel are having for lunch. They are planning, prepping, and preparing for the possibility that they will have to, in fact, take out these ships. All right? That is why you saw just now, as we reported live here, breaking news, that's why you saw the USS Abraham Lincoln send up a fighter jet to make sure that they took down that Iranian drone. They didn't want to miss, I guess. They didn't want to send an air defense and miss it. They didn't want to waste some air defense. So they sent up a whole ass fighter jet to take out that Shahed 139 drone. All right. So I do find this a bit concerning for several reasons. Could you also look at this and say that, the withdrawal, the partial retreat of the USS Abraham Lincoln and the full carrier strike group is an effort to prepare for an impending operation? I mean, we know for a fact that the USS Abraham Lincoln was very upset about those reconnaissance drones overhead. They had warned the Iranians over the past few days with increasing levels of threat. Do not send those recon drones above the USS Abraham Lincoln. So they pulled it back. They pulled it back knowing that, we're going to strike that drone out of the sky the next time that they send it above us. And if we do that, we want to make sure that we are as far out of range of possible land, surface to sea missiles, right, that could come our way if we launch that drone out of the sky. They don't know how the Iranians are going to respond. They don't know if they're going to shoot that drone out of the sky and then the Iranians decide to send these surface to sea missiles out and sink that aircraft carrier. So they pulled back and they said, all right, now let's do it. Strike the drone out of the sky. I can't imagine, though, how the U.S. would respond if the Iranians decided to, over any of the past days of this week, strike one of those MQ-9s out of the sky, one of those American drones out of the sky. How do you think the Americans would have responded if the Iranians decided to bomb a U.S. drone out of the sky? I don't think Trump would have been like, all right, well, you knocked our drone out of the sky. Let's send another one up and let's all meet in Sinkumbaya in Istanbul on Friday and have these negotiations. No, I don't think that would have happened. I think the United States would have been like, how dare you? How dare you challenge the Epstein regime? We will crush you now immediately, right? I think that's what they would have done. I think that's exactly what they would have done. I think what we had happen was Epstein files drop, everyone freaks out, USS Abraham Lincoln pulls back and says, all right, tomorrow we're going to strike the drone. Boom. Everyone, please forget about the files. Please forget about the files, good sirs and madams. It's time. It's time for war on Iran. I think that's what's happening, and I think that this could not only be an indication that they plan to just pull that or just strike the drone, but that we could see more action very soon. Because why is it that the Americans, Kushner and Witkoff, felt the need to go to Tel Aviv before these supposed negotiations take place in Istanbul this Friday with the Iranians? Why do they have to check in with the Israelis? Huh? I think that I think Kushner who, by the way, is a Mossad plant. Everyone knows that. I think Kushner's like, yeah, let's go meet with Netanyahu and find out the exact poison pills that are going to block Iran from agreeing to any sort of deal. Then we will present that to Trump in a way where we know he will not have any way of backing out from these demands that the Israelis are making. And by that point, we will have full justification in our eyes, in Trump's mind, to launch an all-out war against Iran. That's what's going on here. That's what is happening here. And it's all about to begin. All about to begin. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.